We're gonna get this car dialed front and rear. We've got a special guest, Michael from Hyperco. And then we've got Joe from R&D, and he's gonna go ahead and we're gonna jam this thing out today, and let's get to it. A lot of things you don't consider. You know, we didn't, going from 64 to 72 inch, I blanked on getting tie rods, so we're gonna get that. Brake lines, you know, 64 inch brake lines, are they gonna reach another 4 inches out? That's really the hard questions we have to ask, and you know, you don't know until you know, basically. So here we go. We're gonna go maybe to a local dealer and go pick up the parts we need if we don't have it. So staying pretty flexible today. All right, so we've got the passenger side hub off, the axle off. We don't have to drop the differential, basically, which is great news to get these arms off. Then we're going to figure out what side the arms, you know, correctly go on. We're assuming the logo out. We're drilling out the brake lines so that we can attach them to the new arm. So onward we go. Might be the flashlight kid is coming back to haunt me on this DIY project. I'm just not as versed in this stuff. I would have never guessed. But thankfully to these guys, we're
And isn't
rolling.
this your car?
I know. We've done a lot of this stuff, and I'm gonna give him a hand. All right, so we got Michael from Hyperco here. We've got the new springs on the car, right? Because we're going from 64 inch to 72 inch, so that's a huge necessity. And Mike, can you explain kind of what's going on here? I obviously have my shocks still attached here, but we got to take them off?
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we took the front apart, got the shocks apart, we took the OEM springs off, and now we're setting our preload. So when we develop these kits, we go out testing in the desert, and so we know what height they need to be at, where the crossover rings need to be at for the dual rate to come in right. So we're setting all that up, and then we'll go back to the spring compressor, put the springs on, and then they'll be ready to go back on the front end.
Cool. Hell yeah. So these are staying on the car, basically. You're just adjusting the load.
Yep.
And we slide the new springs on, and we're dialed.
Yep, and then we have the spring rate set up for a 72-inch car now instead of a 64.
Here.
Just pressing in the cups for the ball joints, making sure everything sets the way it's supposed to be. So these are designed to fit tight in there. and then they actually get screwed together to make sure that they stay. So we got to press this into here.
Okay, so things we didn't account for, part B is this little guy this guy sits basically up on the shock tower area and then runs like through the radiator. So all the radiator hoses have to run through this. So we're now going to take all the plastics off, get the radiator out, and then run the tubes through this so we can continue on our journey of installing this long travel kit. So much nicer part from HCR. I mean, this thing looks fantastic, but damn, we didn't, going into this, we didn't look at like a video of an install. So we're going through it for the first time as we're doing it. So in part, we're recognizing that we needed a couple extra things or just do a little extra. So onward we go. Okay. Project update. We've got the front bumper going back on. We've got the fenders back on. I stripped the shit out of this bolt when we put the fender on. So now, to do it again, it's pretty done for. We got to probably readjust this as well because it looks like it's flexing pretty good, which I can see right through it. But overall, this braces in. That's the biggest piece because you have to run all the hoses through it. So got the front end back on. The bumper's going back on. You got the upper and lower arms on. I still need tie rods. Those show up in a couple days. And then, yeah, we have the RCV axles there. And then we have the Hyperco springs mounted to the shocks. So we'll be able to put those on. That's what Michael's here for, from Hyperco, saving the day, coming to lend Joe and I a hand here. But getting it back together on the front now. So making some headway. So we have the RSV axles in. They are made in USA, number one. They're powder coated black, puncture resistant, here. So these axles are the freaking business. So we're super hyped to partner with them on these. They got us the actual axles we needed for a 72-inch car, so we're super hyped. Worked out well, super easy. Joe, how easy were the axles to put in?
Super easy.
Done. DIY. That easy.
So this is our dual rate stage kit. It's called our high performance spring kit. You can see that we got rid of the stock springs that were collapsed at stock ride height, and now we have a true dual rate kit. So we've got this initial rate up here that soaks up kind of all the chatter, all the little bumps, and then your final rate transitions, and that's going to soak up all your big bumps. So we're running kind of a special kit because we got some extra weight on here and we converted to 72-inch, but I think it's going to ride awesome, and I can't wait to take it out.
So, cars on the ground. What was the term you used?
Scrub.
Scrub. It's just.
That's gotta make it video.
Just come over. Describe it to me. What is going on? Basically, it sits too high. Explain what's. Yeah. Explain what. Explain what's going on here.
Yeah, so we use the predetermined preload height to get it where it needs to be. Usually after you do that, you get it on the ground, you want to drive it a little bit. It'll kind of let the tires scrub out. They're being held up right now by the friction between the tire and the ground. And then we also want to get the back done first so that, you know, we make sure everything's at the right ride height before we make any adjustments.
Just tripping over everything out here. Sway bar links are done. Tie rods.
Check.
Check. We have the brake lines and tie rods, and then we got to torque the axles.
Yep.
I remember that. And then we can kind of move on to the back. So part one complete, front, pretty much 90%, 95?